Live, but not on the Icecast Live. We are on a very special show this evening. It's a little bonus show, and we're going to be talking about the new Hedrek Broken Pieces book. But specifically, we have two guests tonight, and we're going to talk about one of the stories in the book, how it was made, what it's about, and probably lots more besides. I'll give a few moments. I'll just talk some babble while people come onto the show, get some viewers on. So this evening, I will be talking to Laurence Alison, the writer, and one of our artists, Adam Jakes. So I'm just going to bring those guys on now without any further ado. Good evening, guys. How you doing?
Good evening.
Good evening, Shane.
Good. Now, Laurence, you have just arrived home from a long flight. How long have you been awake now?
I'm on hour 29 at present, so I'm borderline hallucinating tired. But it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, it's all good.
But you feel like you're in issue 1 of Hedrek.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But no, it's worth it because to meet Adam it's always weird when you meet an artist for the first time that you've been working with closely. So yeah, and great. Thanks for all your hard work, Adam. Pulled it out of the bag. Phenomenal set of pages. Very, very moving, and actually massively enhanced the script. So yeah, it'll be fun to talk through that process because it's very different working with Adam than I've worked with David, as you know, for quite a lot, but Adam's approach was different. So it was a fun experience. I really, really enjoyed it. So appreciate it very much.
Yeah, and welcome to the live stream, Adam. It's nice to have you back on. You have been on once before, haven't you? When we did the promo for another book, right, I think it was.
Yeah, we did Long Pig with Graham. Yeah,
that's right. Which is doing great business on Kickstarter now. I think it's finished, has it?
No, just doing the 5th one now, and then we'll be kickstarting hopefully later this year, I think. So.
Brilliant. A great title. Anyone out there? Highly recommend Long Pig by Adam and Graham. And Graham has a solo book out at the moment, doesn't he, Adam, as well?
He does, yeah. Alsatian Cages, which is 150 page, black and white, and it's absolutely beautiful to look at.
Fantastic. 150 pages. That's going to be a substantial read, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it took him about a year and a half. So he's cracking those pages out. Yeah.
Fantastic.
I don't know how he does that.
No, I don't either. So tonight, obviously, we're going to be talking about the new Hedrek book and the story that you've contributed, Adam. It's an unusual story. It's a really, as Laurence said, a very emotional story. And I think you were the perfect artist for this strip, to be honest. But first of all, originally, it was, I believe, 5 pages. Did it extend?
I think it was 6.
6, right?
Yeah, I do have a habit of extending books somewhat. I like to sort of I don't like everything condensed too much, so I like to sort of expand it and draw quite large to allow a lot of close-ups, a lot of emotion. So I just sort of said to Laurence straight away, "Oh, is it all right if I just bung a few extra panels here and there?" And it's only an extra couple of pages. I did actually keep to the script on the last 3, otherwise it could have gone even further. I think the last book I did with Graham was 24-page script, and it ended up being 32 pages. It was just, I don't know, just keep going. So.
And what did you make of that, Laurence? Obviously, because you're saying it was different working with Adam, and I know that you like to tell quite condensed story. Your storytelling is quite condensed. You get a lot of information in a very short space of time. So obviously, with Adam working in a slightly different way, how did you find that?
I think it was serendipity, really, because when you reread what you've written after some distance between you and the writing of it, you're more critical of what you've written. And the first 2 episodes of Hedrek, I thought, God, I've maybe rammed a bit too much in it. There's too much going on. And the strip that Adam's drawn actually required more slow pace for the reader. So I think it was just fortunate, really, that Adam did extend it, because I think, given the nature of that particular story, I mean, it's essentially Summer Bacaley and Hedrek sharing some emotional stuff that they've gone through and giving it a bit more space to breathe and some quieter moments and demanding that the reader take it a bit slower was exactly the right thing to do. So, you know, Adam extending those pages in that way, I think enhanced it definitely. Otherwise, it would just been too brisk a read through for such an important, you know, set of moments.
It gave you the moment. It gave you those moments, didn't it? That there are some moments in this strip where you can just linger on what's happened and it allow yourself to feel it a little bit, you know.
Well, and also, you know, it gave me more space to write some more words. You know, for Hedrek spilling his guts about what happened to him over that difficult period, it felt a bit brief. But I think that the tone and the atmosphere that Adam set, and some of the use of negative spaces, and that harsh black and white as well, has just worked so well. So I'm very, very pleased with it. It looks great.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I guess we should look at some artwork, and because I did promise people we'd talk a little bit about how the art is created. So I guess it's over to you, Adam. I'm going to put you on full screen so that we can see the artwork a little bit better. I was going to share it on the screen, but it's sorry, I didn't want to do that. You can tell Sam's not here. There you go, solo layout. There we go.
Okay.
So let's have a look at page 1, shall we, Adam?
This is page 1.
Wow.
Is that okay? I can't.
We can see it nice and clear. I mean, that's been shared on the campaign already. And what people may have noticed is I did do a little bit of skullduggery and move it around a little bit. You know, so the page in the book is slightly different to the page that you see in front of you now, which I think is, you know, an interesting part of the process. But the artwork here is outstanding. It's lovely. So how did you go about creating that page then, Adam? Obviously, you've got some reference there. When you use reference, obviously you need to get consistency, don't you? So do you find a model, or do you use images that you've got, you know, a lot of the same face? How do you go about doing that?
How I go, right? Well, yes, if I get the chance to shoot with models, I prefer that because I can get them to do exactly what I need them to do.
Yeah.
Any backdrops like that one, again, Laurence was very specific about where that was. I forget which pier it was now, but I googled it and there were some lovely pictures. So that's what he suggested. These, again, it was just a Google image of trying to find sort of multiple images of somebody I felt fitted the character. And because Laurence sort of said it's based loosely on Reece Shearsmith, that's kind of where I went down that sort of road, because there's an awful lot of photographs and footage and such like. And sometimes you watch through clips, YouTube clips, and then screen grab. And it can take a while. But that's kind of how I work, and I quite enjoy that scrolling through, because if you've got an idea in your head what you want the page to look like or what the characters are going to be doing, then you can sort of tailor that by finding the pictures that you need, and hopefully you get a happy mesh between them. So that's kind of how that one came to be. And again, it's largely scene setting. So yeah,
when you create a page like that, because obviously you're going for quite a realistic look. Do you originally though still do thumbnails? Do you like thumbnail it out for the storytelling and then try and find the images to sort of match what you've designed, or do you sort of find the images and then try and make it, crop them so that they tell a story? Because I always find that really challenging with with reference. It's like, well, I don't want to use the reference if it's not doing what it needs to do to tell the story, So that's how do you deal with that?
Well, so with Laurence's script, there was quite a lot packed in. So that's why I expanded. I mean, these 2 pages are basically page 1. So this would all have been on. I don't know. I've gone.
There we are. There you go.
That is everything that should have been on page 1 initially. But because it's quite a poignant scene with Hedrek and his young son. So I kind of wanted to give that the sort of necessary room to breathe. So that was the case. Basically, I started thumbnailing it out on a sheet of paper, but it felt like it was too small. The pictures were too small, and it was too condensed. So it it naturally spilled out over to 2 pages, and then it's just a case of just figuring out which are the important panels, and then sort of splitting them down. So you've got maybe 4, possibly 5 panels on a page, and then that way you can concentrate on I suppose the scene, the expressions, to try and get, you know, a little bit more sort of emphasis behind it, and then you've still got to allow room for the speech bubbles and the narrative to flow through it as well. So, and then once I've got that thumbnailed, I've got like a rough idea in my head, and on the thumbnail, I say a thumbnail is literally a sheet of paper with a couple of boxes on it, and then I know what I need, and then I just go trawling through the internet, and then, you know, sometimes you can find exactly what you need. You need a seagull, there's loads of seagulls. If you need something a little bit more specific, then you have to sort of go down rabbit holes. But you know, it's a fun evening's entertainment. I draw in the day, and when I get the time, and I'll research at night. So it's and then I've got literally thousands of photographs on my tablet, and I never get rid of them in case I need one. So it's and that's so it sounds long-winded, but it's actually a fairly quick process. Once you've got the pictures, the actual drawing, and then you just try and. So it's very hard to explain. I know where I want them, and then it's just a case of then I draw the images, and then the boxes go around the images, not the other way around. So that way I can get a sort of a floaty sort of feel, and then the boxes are there just to suggest movement from the eyes. Is what I think. You know, that's kind of how I feel. I mean, I say with that one, it's you know, diving off. I'm trying to get on that.
Oops, I'm always pressing the wrong buttons. I really need Sam.
So that one, they're both diving into the water. So the boxes naturally sort of cascade downwards.
I like that page.
Into the water, so it's down, and this is how, you know, the bad guy, not the bad guy, but the thug enters the water badly, and this is how Hedrek enters, you know, with some sort of skill.
That is a great shot, by the way. I love that panel where Hedrek's jumping into the water. I don't know if you can bring it closer to the camera so people see it. I mean, I have shared it on the campaign, but that's a lovely design. That it really gives you that, and then the pose, the black and white, how the light coming from above. It's just a really, really nice panel, that is, mate. That
was just basically a lot of Googling men in suits swimming, and you're surprised there's an awful lot of those out there. So. So that's basically that's a long. So that's a nice long shot of Hedrek, because obviously I can't. That's not his focus, his face. So that is sort of stretched out, and then you can zoom back in on some more pages, like that one, and then you can start actually working out the details.
Yeah,
and sort of showing his face again. So
of course this is post injury. Some of this, and then we cut back to this is the interview, isn't it?
Yeah,
the interview scene. These are lovely. These are lovely panels.
So I just really wanted to get that kind of pained.
Yeah,
you know, again, the script Laurence said about making it quite noir, and you know, this falls quite happily into my field of competency, and that was it. And I you know, once you got that sort of noir feel to it, then that's. Yeah, and you get that kind of sadness. I can't, because the light's shining on it, but you can see the sort of.
Yeah. You can really see the emotion in that face.
And then you don't need him to say that much, because that's you hear what he's saying, so you can cut down on the script. And so that's the process of those. The first, well, obviously there's not the spoiler page in there, so
no spoilers.
No spoilers.
There's only really one page that spoils it, isn't there? And we can't show that one, but if you want to see that one, folks, pledge on the book. It is still going on Kickstarter. I think we've got 5 days left, and we've still got a ways to go. So, you know, if you want to see the whole of this brilliant story and 3 other stories by 3 amazing creators, then please do pledge. The link is scrolling across the bottom of the screen now. So, Laurence, did you, as Adam was bringing the work in, did you find that you were sort of saying, "Oh, I might slightly change the way I present the script," or was there a bit of to and fro there because there'd been changes made?
Yeah, well, as I say, I had a bit more chance to breathe with it. I added a little bit of dialogue. And it did change. There was a decision, well, a narrative decision that consciously changed when we see Hedrek's family turn up at the hospital. Well, it's difficult to describe without giving it away, but there was a decision that I completely changed due to the way that Adam had drawn it. But I did want to ask Adam, actually, when you're, what I always find fascinating, because I do a bit of drawing myself. So when I'm writing, I kind of see it in my head. So it's really interesting when an artist makes a completely different decision compositionally, which nearly always works out better than what was in my head, which is good to know. But I was going to ask you, Adam, when you're composing a page, how conscious are you with the decisions that you made? And for example, I'm thinking about that first page where we see Hedrek walking with his son, and it was a bit like Steve's decision when I think we were last on the podcast, where we don't actually see Johnny Jack's face, which and I don't know. I think that is a powerful picture of Hedrek and his son, but it's shot from behind and from the waist down, which works really well. I was just interested how conscious are those decisions around composing?
That was one of those key panels that I was saying about that I knew I really wanted to put down. It was some way of walking hand in hand, but with not too much emphasis on the child or Hedrek. I wanted a mix, and I mean that again is just a cut down reference picture that I found, and it is. I just thought it was just very moving, and especially with the heavy blacks on it and things. And just saying about the actual first panel was because I'll read through a script many times, and then I really didn't know how to start this. I didn't know, because David's work is so different from mine, and I wanted to keep in the sort of style of things, but then I realised I can't. I have to do it kind of my own way. Yeah. And once I found that picture of like that, I thought, that's the start of the interview scene. And then the rest of it sort of fell into place. And I really wanted to show the pair as well. And again, that's why the decision came not to cram it all in. Because I think if you end up with sort of 9 panels on a page or 8 panels, sort of that big, and it's fiddly, and I think it's sometimes hard to read as well. So that bottom page was something I definitely wanted. The rest were, you can be anything, because it's a speaking page. It's not hugely specific. But it's sometimes, I don't know, sometimes it's a case of literally just riffing and seeing where you start in the middle or something and sort of work outwards. Or, I mean, at the moment I'm working on Long Pig 5. I'm about 23 pages in. None of them are complete. They're all over the place. It's chaos, and and it's the only way I can describe it. And it was like this with these 8 pages. None of them are finished, really, until the very end. And I'll go back to page 1 and then page 4, and then I want to do that. And then finally it all sort of ends, and then you go, wait, it's over.
So do you go through it sequentially, or are you sort of playing around with it? I mean, again, on that first page, because we've got Summer Bacaley on the left of shot and we've got Hedrek on the right, it sets it up really nicely as an interrogation scene. You've got that strong panel of Hedrek at the top, which is our sort of introduction to the character, and then that, like I say, really interesting decision to have Hedrek and his son shot from the waist down, walking away from us. But it just works so well. But do you, because I know David just goes from page to page. He does the first page, the second page. But I get the sense you play around with the panels a bit more. I don't know. Yeah,
very much so. So again, this was well, let's use this one.
I'll get you on full screen.
This is many panels. This is 8 panels. This is usually a lot more than I like to really do on a page. But it had to be because of the narrative. So obviously I didn't sit down and do all that in one go. That was because, you don't want to draw chains all the time, or you want to draw like a couple of links of chains and then go and draw a face. And then you want to go and do something else. And then you go back and do the chains when you feel like it. So, there'll be jumping between page after page. There's certainly not in a sequential order. It's chaos is the only way I can really describe it, but it does seem to work, because
I do apologise for the script in that particular page. I asked Adam to do. I think he was probably putting pins in a doll of me somewhere when I when I get to that page to draw.
There was a lot of images, but I mean that was based on the way David kind of did it with the flower, and I did try that originally, but it didn't really suit. I could not get it to work with my style, and it just looked rubbish. It didn't fit with my stuff, and it didn't look like David's stuff. It just looked like there's some sort of A-level student sort of thing. So
no insult to A-level students out there taking their A-levels at the moment.
Yeah, no offense to anyone there. So yeah, I made the decision without actually asking Laurence, and then sort of showed him because I
this is how it's going to be.
I didn't really know what else to do. There's probably a failing in me actually not being able to be that versatile, but because I wanted the image is probably more important, I think, than the actual layout. I say David's way with doing the flower was fantastic and it looks amazing, but David's style does embrace that and encompasses that a little bit more. It's more ethereal than mine, so it worked a lot better. So that was a case of, oh dear, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do this and hope it works out. And well, there it goes.
Can we have another look at that page, Adam?
Yeah, sure.
It is a great page, and you know what you're saying there. It makes total sense to me. You know, because the way David draws, obviously he does it in a lot more sort of. It's almost, I wouldn't say cartoony, but it's cartooning. You know, and he has that ability to create these compositions in a certain way. Whereas this is, as you say, it's built around these images, but they're all individually really strong images. And then you want to try and make it into a page, you know.
Yeah.
And that's quite a challenge, isn't it?
That was a challenging page. I kept looking at that one and thought, I literally no idea how to do that. But I have put
made it work. You made it work.
There is a flower here, as you can see. So I have put the flower. Yeah. So it's kind of a little nod there, but
it does work so well. And actually, I don't know if you can show us that last panel, the Lico. You know, Adam's it's a small panel, but that's got a really sinister look to it.
It's very sinister. Yeah,
because I don't give a lot of detail about exactly what I want people to look like or how things to be. And 3 people have now drawn that character, and they're all slightly different take on it, which is great.
Yeah, different takes. That's incredible, isn't it? On these the 3 stories where he's featured, they are so different, aren't they? Each artist, the way they've done it, it's incredible.
There's loads of reference online. There's loads of ways people are doing it. It was a case of just finding one that sort of spoke to me really, and that was that kind of one-eyed demon was it. And it almost feels a shame to put it so small. It feels like it needs to be bigger, you know, proper like down the side of the page, like full length, you know, everything else sort of laid next to it. But you know, you look at it once it's finished, and you think, well, I could have done that, but I didn't. So
yeah, you'd served the story. That's the important thing. You know? That's the temptation, isn't it? As an artist, you want to, oh, that's a really nice panel. Can I make it big because it's a beautiful drawing? And then it's like, oh, does that actually tell the story the best way?
Yeah,
it's making that sacrifice, isn't it?
But I think that's what's so interesting about comics medium is, I mean, for Hedrek, I had a very conscious decision that in issue 1, the symbol would be the Momus card. In issue 2, it would be the flower. In this issue, it's the eye. And in issue 4, it will be the skull. So the fact that actually it's not completely in your face and overwhelming the rest of the page, you know, I think that's what's you know, it works on readers at a subconscious level. There's not even any reference to any of these things in words, but there are images that keep punctuating each issue. And they, you know, the subtlety of that, I think you don't even realize that it's working on you until the end. I mean, my hope is that if people read Hedrek, there'll be things that they can go back to time and time again that they didn't notice the first time. There's stuff I've planted in issue 1 that people won't make sense of until issue 4. So
I always have it close at hand. I've reread this recently, and as you say, and I have seen things in there that I didn't spot before.
There's clues planted throughout. So like I say, but you know, having that ability to juxtapose words with images and not actually connect the two directly always and overtly, I think's what's so powerful about the medium, because it's working at a subconscious level.
It's unique, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got about 5 minutes left of this live stream, because time always goes quick when you're having fun. And so I think we should have a look at a little bit more artwork. So I'm going to bring you back to full screen, Adam.
Okay, well, I've got two more pages I can show. Oh, I think the light's hitting that now a bit. There we go.
Yeah, you've got a light shining on it. Yeah.
Is that okay?
I can see it. I can see those panels. Yeah.
That was another tricky script shot.
Yeah.
There was an awful lot going on this one, and this was another one I sort of struggled with a little bit, to be honest with you.
And there's a lot of, because it's exposition, isn't it? It's looking back, like a flashback, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm hoping, with the words can do some of the heavy lifting on that as well, because that became sort of a really bizarre imagery for me. So again, yeah, it's I struggled with it. I mean, you do sometimes. It's some pages flow, some are a bit more hard work. I mean, I'm very happy with it, don't get me wrong. But that one probably took longer than all of the others, I should think.
Really?
That was going back to it and redrawing it and going over pencils and getting rid of stuff, and yeah, very, very confusing panel for pages for me, that was. But we got through it. So, but that is the challenge of working with writers and people you haven't worked with before. You try and deliver what you want, and also what they want. So
and a lot of people say, don't they? A lot of artists say drawing a comic page is like solving a puzzle, and I think that's quite a good description.
Yeah.
Because you have a script, you have something, you've got to tell a story, and to solve that puzzle, that story, you need to be able to create the images to do that. And I think every page, to a certain extent, there's that solving of problem aspect, isn't there?
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it, actually. Yeah, it's just trying to solve that problem. But now, having worked with Laurence now, I know what I can push, what boundaries I can sort of happily sort of push back. And I think it's his first time working with someone, trying to know what you want to please them, but you also want to please yourself at the same time, and do a page that you're happy with. You don't just want to draw like you did, years ago. Somebody go, "Oh, I want a man entering a room," and you just do it. You want to do it to satisfy yourself and the reader and the writer and everyone. So it's yeah, it was a challenge one. I've got one page left, and that's that big splash one at the end.
That's a lovely splash page, isn't it? Now we've talked about doing something with this. Now it would be a stretch goal, and I'm not sure if we're going to get stretch goals on this. But the idea was that we would be lovely to colour this, get someone to colour it, and then do it as
make a great cover, actually.
It would. In hindsight, hindsight's a wonderful thing. But there is the trade paperback one day, so you never know.
Yeah.
But I think it would be lovely to add this to the prints on offer. So if we do get, to the stage of we're looking at stretch goals, I think that would definitely be something we'd do, is add this to the prints, because it's such a lovely image, and I love that how you do mummers, because David does his mummers in a certain way, and you do yours in a different way. They're both very effective and both very, very creepy, which is what we're after,
Yes, absolutely.
Well, so I've seen David's latest pages for issue 4. So he's been using some of Adam's references from that exact page. It's been really fascinating to see.
Really?
It's just weird seeing David start it and then Adam continue it and then David pick it back up again. So he's, David's producing some outstanding work again. So we're nearly halfway through issue 4. But
I've seen the pages that you've shown me, Laurence, and it's like he's on fire at the moment. He's found his rhythm, and he's just putting out some great pages. I can't wait for people to see them. Absolutely fantastic. But it's been a wonderful experience seeing yourself, Adam, do your versions, of these characters, and the other artists as well. Damien, Paul, and Steve have all done such wonderful work.
Yeah,
it's fantastic. It's inspiring. It really is. So is that all the pages we're allowed to see now? Then, Adam,
that's 7 of 8. Yes,
7 of 8. Yeah,
7 of 8.
All but the eye loss page. We can't show
Yeah,
eye loss page.
yeah. Ooh, I wonder how it happened. Yeah. All I'll say is it was better than Nick Fury's. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie, but yeah, how Nick Fury lost his eye was, for me, very unsatisfying. So
I don't know how did Fury lose his eye?
Oh, right. Spoiler warning, everybody. It's in Miss Marvel, the movie, wasn't it? And he, well, this is in the movie anyway. He got it ripped out by an angry alien cat. So this cat turns into this sort of massive tentacled alien being, and then it turns back into a cat, and it scratches his eye, and it infected it and took his eye out. There you go. It's just very silly. It doesn't go with the original. It doesn't go with the original sort of. I used to trust someone, and this is what happened, sort of thing. Unless he's talking about the cat, of course, because he did sort of trust the cat, and then it went. But you know, Nick Fury's eye being scratched out by a cat. That's not very.
That's pretty lame, isn't it?
It's pretty lame, isn't it? It was a big alien demon cat, but still, you know, it was a bit naff. So thank you guys so much. It is a short show because Laurence has been awake for 29 hours, nearly 30 hours now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on and speaking to everybody. We've had a few people watching all the way through, which is nice. So everybody who's been watching, thank you very much. There is a comment, actually, Facebook user. That's because they've come from the Hedrek page. So if you let us know who you are, that would be great. Terrific pages, Adam. Why do you never bring that skill and dedication to my scripts? I'm guessing that's Graham.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Well, I don't know. I'm not going to answer that one because that's between you guys. You know,
I did say to him to come along and heckle, so let's hope that
he's literally heckling there, isn't he? Yeah. Well, I'll leave that to you guys to discuss after the show. Thanks for that, Graham. So yeah, thanks for coming on, guys, and thanks to everyone who came along to watch. If you are watching this later on YouTube or any of the other platforms, if it is within, you know, if it is before, I think 21st or 22nd of May, this project comes to an end on Kickstarter. There is a link going across the bottom of the screen, and also on the Hedrek page. The link is fixed to the top. Please do give us a pledge. It starts as low as, I believe, £4 for the digital version, and there is some wonderful art for sale. All of these pages that Adam has shown us, I don't know if you want to put them on the screen again before we go off, Adam. These pages are for sale on the Kickstarter. Sorry about the echo there, guys. And they are beautiful pages, as you can see. They're full-sized, hand-drawn, one-offs. So please do take a look, guys. And we do have pages available from David as well, as add-ons. At the moment, we've got pages 1 to 8. They're just lovely pages, aren't they? They're just
beautiful stuff. Yeah, beautiful stuff.
So please go on there, guys. Pledge, get the book. You don't want to miss this one. It's not one of those ones where it's you can miss it because it's just an anthology. There are essential bits of. I'm sure you'll back me up on this, Laurence. There are essential bits of storytelling in this book that are, you know, if you want to read the whole story of Hedrek, you need to be reading this anthology. Is that right, Laurence? Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
So it's not one to skip.
This is not one to skip. No, you won't be able to make sense of 4 if you haven't read this one. That's for sure.
Yeah, and obviously a lot of people have bought 1 and 2. So if you want to, make sense of, it's actually 3, isn't it? But we keep calling it 4, but it's actually issue 3 because this is a one shot. But it will be the 4th issue. If you want to make sense of it, you do need to get this one. So please do, guys. So I'll give it a rest now. We'll go and have some tea. Thank you guys for coming on to the show.
Very welcome.
Been really good. Always an absolute pleasure to chat with both of you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shane. Thank you, Adam. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Laurence. Thanks, Shane.
Good evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you later.